ReefDudes is sponsored by Ecotech Marine and Bulk Reef Supply. Meet the Berghia Nudibranch, a tiny Aiptasia assassin that's 100% reef safe. What's going on, guys? Devin from ReefDude. So did you know that these tiny Aiptasia assassins you can breed yourself? And they are extremely useful to have on hand. So let's get into breeding. It is extremely easy to set up a breeding tank, and you did want to use a tiny container. The ones I'm using are only a couple liters, no sand, no rock. I don't even have a filter in there. So some people might say you can use a sponge filter, but I personally find they breed very easy without it. Now, the biggest trick with these guys is giving them a steady supply of food. And like I said before, they are Aiptasia machines, and they only eat Aiptasia. So without Aiptasia, they will die off. So you need to make sure you have a steady supply of Aiptasia to keep them going. But once you have your Aiptasia supply down, you could start with as little as 2. I started with about 6 or 7 in here, but it only takes 2. And the really cool thing is either the male or the female can lay eggs. So as long as they're getting lots of food, you're going to see tons and tons of these spiral little egg clutches within days of adding them to your tank. Now, the egg clutches take a couple weeks. Usually once you see them, it's a good 10 to 14 days until they hatch. But the babies, they are tiny. And, I'm talking the size of a pinhead. And they need Aiptasia to survive. So make sure you have lots on hand. Now, you can leave the juveniles in there with them, or you could separate them out to their own container with tinier Aiptasia. You might have better success doing that, but I've basically let them all together. And the population just keeps on growing. So as long as you have a steady supply of Aiptasia, they're extremely easy to breed. Now, for whatever reason, they are overly expensive, and it's probably because it's harder to breed Aiptasia than it is to breed the Berghia. Now, breeding Berghia isn't hard, but it does take patience. And honestly, if you can master the art of culturing Aiptasia, you will have no problem breeding Berghia. And it's one of the best ways to naturally keep Aiptasia under control. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you did, be sure that like button. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. And hopefully this inspired you to start your very own Berghia culture.